Today we will talk about a queen of a special and distinctive character, one of the greatest queens of history. It is Queen Hatshepsut, the queen of ancient Egyptian queens and the crown of the Pharaonic Egypt. The female pharaohs who ruled in these ages, and her reign were considered a pivotal turning point in the ancient history of Egypt, and her unique architectural effects attest to the greatness of her judgment and her interest in culture and arts, as well as the state of prosperity that characterized her throughout her period of rule in Egypt. Welcome to T2 Documentary Channel. Support us, like and subscribe to the channel. She was born in 1508 BC in the Pharaonic palace, a princess named Hatshepsut, the eldest daughter of the king, Thutmose I, and she was the fifth in the line of kings of the 18th family, and the king, Ahmose I, is considered the owner of the great victory in the liberation of Egypt from the Hyksos. Pharaonic 18, to which you belong. The original name of Hatshepsut is Ganmat Amun Hatshepsut, and its name means Amun's favorite concubine of the ladies, or Amun's jewel, the princesses. Hatshepsut married her half-brother, Thutmose II, according to the custom of the pharaohs, who had no way to seize the scepter but to marry Hatshepsut, and she bore him a son and two daughters. The son died in his childhood, and his name did not remain on any trace of the monuments. As for the two daughters, their names are Nephro-Ra and Marit-Ra Hatshepsut. She gave birth to her husband, Thutmose II, his son, Thutmose III, one of the concubines of the royal court, which was called Ez. Thutmose II was a weak person and may be sick at the identical time, and after all Hatshepsut was the one who ran the affairs of the state, and ruled the country in his name from behind the curtain, and he or she was the author of the order and forbidding, and after a brief time it became clear that he was on the thanks to death. Taking the court men and senior officials, they wonder what's going to happen when he dies. There was no other prince who could succeed him to the throne, as if she would eventually rule the country on her own. However, her husband, Thutmose II, wanted to grant his son, Thutmose III, the correct to assume the throne after him, and there was someone who was planning conspiracies with the temple of Amun at Karnak, stirring up the final feeling among the priests and also the people against the concept of a woman ruling them, and this person was he, Thutmose III, himself, who was living within the temple joined of his priests. And Thutmose II died in 1501 BC, and on the 3rd day of May 1501 BC, Thutmose III left his work as a junior priest within the temple of Amun to enter the royal palace of the pharaohs, and Hatshepsut was at that point 30 during her reign, most of which were disciplinary campaigns, in addition to one military campaign recorded during the reign of Hatshepsut by Thutmose III, which is the capture of Gaza, and that was near the end of her rule. Some manuscripts, such as a manuscript found in the Senamut cemetery, reveal disciplinary campaigns in Nubia and some other countries that were under Egyptian authority. This queen left behind many gases and secrets, and perhaps the most interesting of these mysteries is Senmut. Senmut was an interesting mystery in the life of Hatshepsut, the engineer who built her famous temple in Deir el-Bahari, which she conferred 80 titles, and his love for his queen reached the point that he dug a tunnel between her grave and his grave, to be close to her in the hereafter, as he was close to her in this life. As for her, she appreciated his ingenuity and the strength of his character, to the extent that he was allowed to build his tomb in the precincts of her temple to be adjacent to him in his death as he was doing in this world. And if historians' hints indicate a love between the two, then we will die and Hatshepsut after the death of her husband. However, that's not certain, and it might just be a relationship of mutual respect. Hatshepsut died on the 10th of the second month of the fall semester, which corresponds to January 14, 1457 BC, during the year 22 of her reign. After the death of Queen Hatshepsut, Thutmose III tried to destroy every statue of his father's wife and distort and wipe her name and hide the features of her rule from the Pharaonic civilization. Indeed, many of its monuments were completely destroyed, most notably its famous temple, which sucks the face of most of its statues with it, and many texts were erased with it that talk about the period of her rule. The mummy of Hatshepsut has been verified that the signs of her death are signs of a natural death, and that the cause of her death is due to her cancer or diabetes. Hatshepsut's tomb is located in the Valley of the Kings and is symbolized by the number KV20, and Hatshepsut may have expanded her father's tomb for use, and her coffin was found next to her father's. This is the story of the first pharaoh, a woman who ruled Egypt with all power and intelligence. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to support us, like and subscribing to the channel and activating the bell button to receive all new